Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you this week on the Ask Sharon segment. It's interesting because this topic is going from expert to authority. But let's first talk about becoming an expert, because I have to admit, for many, many years, I felt uncomfortable calling myself an expert, let alone an authority. I'd say, somebody would ask me, I said, well, I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at accounting. I'm pretty good at writing. I'm pretty good at publishing. And I held myself back from saying I am an expert. And even after I felt that I'd earned the right, because I didn't want to sound like I was, had a big ego. But at the same time, every one of you is an expert, because nobody's walked in your shoes. Nobody has been where you are. And it's interesting because it's, ask yourself, what do you bring to everyone else? Nobody's had the successes that you've had. Nobody's had the learning opportunities that you've had. And so it's really important for you to think, I am an expert. Nobody else has done what I've done. Nobody else has had the successes I've had. Nobody else has had the learning opportunities. And so ask yourself, I am an expert. Say, I am an expert, because you are. And the issue is taking yourself and changing from being an expert to standing as an authority. And sometimes we have to do a few things to make that happen. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because an expert knows their field. An authority is recognized by others as an expert in their field. And so that's the biggest difference. Oh, thank you. Hi, Cashel, Karen, Curtis, Mary. So happy you're all with me, because today's important, because it's going to help you define your niche, define your position of standing in your own power. So I have a couple of questions. I have quite a few questions that came in, and two from the same people, the same question from two different people, Derek from Tallahassee and Karen from Canada. And that is, what's the difference between being an expert and being an authority? Now, I can give you the dictionary definition of the difference between expert and authority, but I like to keep things simple. And so the simple answer for me is, you have transitioned from being an expert to being an authority when the phone starts ringing. People start calling you instead of you calling them. People are coming to you and asking you questions. And so how can you make that transition? Well, I can go into a lot of technical stuff, and I'll share a few points there. But an example I have of just a couple of, actually it was last year, about 18 months ago, I had a gal that I was mentoring, and she was a real estate agent, and she was working in the company that was owned by her parents. And she said, Sharon, I just don't get any respect. I'm like one of the top earners, top performers, but people, want to pat me on the head. And so I asked her, I said, well, so you've got the creds, you've got the experience, you've got the sales record. Why don't you, I said, do you have buyers that ask you the same questions? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you have sellers that ask you the same questions? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so I said, well, write a short ebook about the 5 things you need to know as a buyer and the 5 things you need to know as a seller. And she did. She was a go-getter. I mean, she literally did it within 60 days. She got it up, and about 6 months later, I had heard from her, and she called me. She says, you will never believe, people in my office that used to ignore me now come to me and ask me my opinion. They want to share my ebook with other people, which of course I let them do that. And she says, people, I've been on television, I've been on radio. She says, just by sharing what I know. And that's what you need to do, because you are an expert in your field. And even if it's an expert in life experience, no one has been through what you've been through. And there are people out there that can benefit from hearing you. And so you need to stand in your own power and do things like write an ebook or start a blog, do a Facebook page, start sharing your story, start interviewing others in your field. That's one of the quickest ways. You may feel like you're not quite there yet, but start interviewing others, and they'll start looking to you as the authority in that field. And so I get lots of requests for interviews, and we can't say yes to all of them. But again, it's people trying to, and that adds also that brand association, so that you can start being related to those other experts in their field. And so it elevates everybody. And so it's very important to start saying, how can I become an authority? Because you're already an expert. And when I'm doing live seminars, I say, everybody say, I am an expert. Now, people are a lot easier for them to say, you are an expert, a lot more power. But then when you have to say, I am an expert, it's kind of, they throttle it back a little bit. I'm going to tell you to turn up the dial. But also the choice of our words are so, so important. And instead of saying, I am an expert, change that one word "an" to "the." I am the expert. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Tracy. Curtis. Hello. And Jeff. Whoa, always happy to see you online, Jeff. Happy to have you guys all here. And thank you for the compliment. And so it's really important to understand I am the expert, because when you start saying it, sometimes you have to practice it in the mirror until you stop laughing at yourself, but you are the expert. No one else can say what you've done except you. You have the opportunity to share that with others, and others can benefit from your experience, both your successes and your learning opportunities. And you can do that. We have so many ways to communicate today. You can do it by having your own internet radio show. You can do it through blogging. You can do it through email campaigns. You can do it through social media, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn. Don't forget to use LinkedIn. It's a wonderful business platform. And again, with LinkedIn, you again establish your authority. So the way that you describe yourself is very important, both on Facebook and LinkedIn. Because as becoming an authority, people start recognizing you. You might get that little blue check on your Facebook page. You may get, have people start reaching out to you. You can get speaking opportunities by talking about things that you talk about as the authority. So I want to make sure I get to these questions, because I had a lot of questions sent in about that. So thank you, Karen, and thank you, Derek. I hope I've defined what my feeling is the difference between expert and authority, because an authority is one that when the phone starts ringing for you, people start calling you to ask your opinion. You've not just transitioned, but you've become the authority, the expert, the authority. And that's what's so important, is when I often tell people, every telephone call can change your life, and it's true. But again, you need to earn the right. Let's not skip over that point. Earn the right to become the authority. A lot of people reach out and want to interview and want to, get that brand association, but they're not doing the homework. So if you're the expert in your field and you want to become the authority, and you still have a little bit of ways to go, and you're interviewing other people, make sure you're staying on target. You're staying on top of what's happening in your field. Do the homework so that you can be the authority. Stand in your own power, but also earning the right. Hi, Tracy, Cashel. Wonderful to have you guys with me. And it's something that ask yourself, what do I still need to do? If you don't consider yourself the authority, what can you do? You probably may already have a Facebook page. You may already have a blog. Can you do a podcast? Can you start interviewing people to share on your Facebook? Do some things like this, some live Facebooks, and do some interviews with people. We're going to start doing some podcasts. We're relaunching a whole new podcast on the Play Big movement, and I'm very excited. I'm going to interview people who play big in their fields, and it's something that they're going to be sharing what they do and how they continue to stay as the authority in their field, but not just authority. They're number one in their field. And I want you to be number one in your field. That's what the whole Play Big movement is all about. So let me hear you say, you're going to play big right along with me, because you're going to be playing big. You're going to be number one in your field, live your legacy, and create maximum impact. because the more of us that can start putting out positive content and start impacting others in a positive way, the quicker we're going to see positive results, not just in our communities, but in our countries and the globe. So let's see. I have Arthur from Germany, so that's why I'm talking about the globe. We have people from all over the world. I have a great deal of experience in my field, and many of my peers come to me for advice and to work with them on issues that they don't have the ability to solve on their own. So you're already being seen as an expert from others and an authority. I don't have the degree or formal education that would typically be expected for my position. Although I have put in my 10,000 hours, we got that book, I am still concerned if people will agree that I've earned the right to call myself expert. What are your thoughts? Well, typically people don't ask you what college you went to. So I want to say congratulations to you, Arthur, for you've earned that right. You may not have the technical degree. And my father had a third grade education, but he was totally self-taught and went on to run the engineering school at the Navy in Great Lakes before he retired. Hugely respected, but no formal education after the third grade. And he earned that right through hard work, dedication, and learning what he needed to know. And having other people respect you is a huge step in earning that right. So from my perspective, you've already earned the right. People are coming to you, they're asking your questions. They're asking you to work with them to help them solve problems. Hi, Floor. Hi, Tracy Murta. Wonderful to have you. And it's really interesting that I see so many comments. I want to hear all of you say you're going to play big, because that's what it's all about. You have every opportunity and every right. And what happens is people say, I bet some of you right now are saying easy for her to say. Well, it wasn't for a long time. I worked really hard. And you know what? When I built Rich Dad, I kind of stayed out of the limelight. I was right there. I did I made all the deals, everything, but my partner liked the limelight and I was quite comfortable staying out of it. And I realized I needed to stand in my power. I could make more impact by standing in the light. You can make more impact by staying in the light. And that I'm talking to you, Tracy. You have a huge opportunity to impact women, and you already are. But that can grow by you standing in the light and telling your story, telling them what you do to help other women. Here's my next question. My name is Mary, and I live in Bridgewater, New Jersey. My niece lives in South Orange. My family includes me, my husband, and our 3 children. I've been talking for a couple of years about wanting to start a blog, What's Holding You Up, and create content and a platform around parenting and some of the issues that we have faced with our special needs daughter. Oh, God bless you. However, I don't have a medical background, and some of what I would share would be related to her medical challenges. I have studied and educated myself so that I can be the best advocate for our daughter and feel that I know enough to share, but wonder if it creates liability for me. Wow. Mary, God bless you. You are an expert, and it sounds like you are the authority. And you know what? A lot of times when parents are having issues with their children, they want to hear from other parents as much as other doctors, because you've walked that journey. You've had not just the medical issues, but you've had the emotional issues to deal with. And so I applaud you for wanting to do it. And I go for it, get it out there, because there's so many other parents with special needs children that are just finding out, or they're struggling. And you can be that solace, that place where they can come to get advice and support. And it's something that every one of us would support you in doing that, Mary, because you have experienced and survived, and you have tools that you've learned to cope, not just the medical applications, but how do you cope with that stress, that 24/7 care. And so, yes, absolutely. Please let me know when it's alive, when your blog is up and running. Next question. Hello, Sharon. My name is Tammy. Hi, Tammy. I live in San Francisco. I spent many years as a medical supply sales rep, but have transitioned to the field of prosthetics after suffering a loss of my leg after a car accident. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I believe that I can help others because I know that they are going through I know what they are going through, but I'm finding that I'm treated more like a case study than an expert. Oh, shame on them. Also, although I am less experienced than many of my peers, I have firsthand knowledge of what it's like to go through process of learning to live with a prosthetic. Can I be an expert if others don't see me as one? You already are. You survived the trauma. So very similar to what I just said to Mary, you survived the trauma. You're living a healthy, full life, and you are helping others who have experienced the same thing. You're not just an authority, an expert, you are the authority because you survived. And as you reach out to others, maybe you want to do a blog, maybe you want to do something that where, you know, whether it's a live, maybe it's a Facebook page for people that are suffering, because you can give not just that sales support, getting them fitted with what they need, but you've been through the emotional drama and you can provide that emotional support. Both are so important. So I say you're hands above individuals in your field that have not been through that experience, because I think it's so important. Hello. Oh gosh, I'm going to say your name wrong. Shanayan and Buffy, Tracy. Yes, I want you to stand in the light. And you know what? It's okay to be blinded by it. Because that means you're making an impact. So don't be afraid of being blinded by the light when you step in it. But Tammy, I really want to encourage you to not say what you don't have that they do. You know, maybe you don't have as much experience in sales, but you have tons more life experience because of what you've been through. And to take that and transfer it into a way to help others. What a blessing. So I encourage you, please go ahead and look at how you can become the authority in expressing it to the public. All right, because I think you're already there, but you just need to establish your authority. You need to really understand how to communicate. And maybe it's providing those other sales reps with, say, if your clients need somebody to talk to, or if they need some help emotionally, I'm going to put together this private Facebook page where they can come and share their experiences. And it's a way that you can start establishing the fact that you're not just a sales rep. You are invested in the process of making sure people are fitted with a prosthetic that will give them quality of life, as well as in both physical and emotional. You can do it. I think that's wonderful. Now, I have Renee from Cheyenne. All right. I am referred to as a subject matter expert within my organization. Okay, so you're already an expert and you are an authority within your company. It's a SaaS company, SaaS company. What steps should I be taking to move myself from expert within my company to authority in the public? Perfect question. Many of you establish yourself as an expert within your tribe, within the people that you know, the community, but you don't step outside that community, because that's called stepping outside your comfort zone. So I challenge you, Renee, to the information that you know and are respected for knowing within your company, people outside need that as well. So, I mean, the experts within Google, they don't just work with their clients, they have public forums to help other people understand Google, just like you can do as well. You know, there are a lot of people that need questions answered about it. So again, think about doing a quick ebook. What are the top 5 questions your clients ask? And maybe it's the top 5 troubleshooting areas that people need to go and look at when they're applying this technology. And so you have the ability to share that through a written form as an ebook, or through, again, it could be a Facebook page, or LinkedIn would be a perfect place for you. Because in LinkedIn, say you're an expert in SaaS, and people are going to come following you in SaaS because they need help in that. And so you already are an authority in your company. It doesn't take much to become an authority in your field to the public. You just need to put it out there that you are the authority, the expert. And Myrta, I'm glad I just gave you the push you needed. Yes, I am speaking to you, Myrta. And Tracy, thank you so much for your comment. And Samarian, so wonderful. I haven't heard from you in a long time. Great. So happy that you're here. And every one of us should listen to this. You're an expert. You may already be the authority within your sphere. Are you an authority to the public? And what can you do to reach outside your network to establish that authority? Maybe it's public speaking. Maybe it's writing an ebook. Maybe it's just simply updating your LinkedIn profile to talk about what you're an expert in, what you're an authority in. And when you do that, update your Google My Business page. And that's something that's a free service that so many people ignore. That Google My Business page is very, very important to make sure you've got your expertise on there, you've got your contact details, and you have to claim it. Someone else, your competitor, could go in and claim your Google My Business page, and then you lose the right to update your own information. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you check into that Google My Business page. If you can look me up, you'll see mine on the side. And same thing for you. Yours needs to pop up with the information, testimonials, information that you do, how people can reach you. And it's a free service from Google. And many pundits today are saying that the future is not through websites, it's through that Google My Business page. People are going to be wanting to contact you right away. So when they look you up and that pops up, you want your phone number, you want your website right there so people can find you. Okay, here we go. This next question. My name is Bobby. I'm not quite sure where Bobby is from, and I'm a recent engineering graduate. Although I completed the process of earning my degree, I don't love engineering. How many of us can say that? My husband was an EE. He learned electrical engineering, and then he went on to law school, so you never know. As I explore other opportunities to learn skills in areas I will enjoy working, I dread the idea of going back to school. Okay, good to know. Do you believe that in today's entrepreneurial environment that it is possible to become an expert and then an authority if you find alternative methods of education from a formal degree? If you were me, how would you go about doing it? Well, first off, at least you know what you want to do, what you don't want to do. If you don't want to go back to school, you have an engineering degree. I don't know what kind of engineering it is that you are in, but there's something within that field that interests you, or you were pressured into going into engineering. So the issue is, what is it that you want to do? And you don't have to have formal education. As I just, earlier with that earlier question, I talk about my own father. When I graduated with my accounting degree, I started off in accounting, and it wasn't that I didn't like accounting. It was just I had that entrepreneurial bug. And so when I went into publishing, I didn't know anything about publishing. I learned by doing, but I also dedicated myself to becoming an expert, becoming the authority. And that's why we talk about, for me, I'm saying I'm going to play big again, because I kind of went on autopilot the last couple of years. And so by playing big, it's finding something that you are and it helps if you're passionate about it. And again, most successful businesses solve a problem or serve a need. Ask yourself, what problem do you solve, or what problem do you want to solve? What need do you want to serve? And then go about training yourself. And maybe the best way to train yourself is to get a job working for someone else in that field to learn everything you need to do, because you've got school smarts and street smarts. Both are pretty important. Sometimes school smarts can help you get in the right direction, but street smarts is really how you truly create success. Because once you get out of school, you have to learn how to make the deals, how to negotiate, how to sell your stuff, how to make sure that your community supports you and spreads the word. And so that's really something that you can learn by selecting the problem you want to solve or the need you want to serve, and finding how best to become the expert and authority in that field. So I challenge you to start thinking about, what is it that you want? If engineering is not it, is there something within engineering? Innovation. Maybe you like the innovation part. Find something that really might be clean water, might be, kids events, or might be in saving humanity, might be in diseases. What is it that you want to do that makes you feel good, that makes you get that energy to pop out of bed every morning? And then think about how you can become an expert or an authority in that field. Because if you can graduate with an engineering degree, you can do anything you want to do. And you've got a leg up, and having that engineering degree will open doors for you. Most people, when you're out in the world, if you have a 4-year degree, they pretty much don't ask after that. And yours, you probably went to school 5-6 years for an engineering degree. And so you already have that box checked. It's not ever required that you have a specific degree. And if it is, then don't spend a lot of time in that, looking for that position, because you have the opportunity to do everything and anything you want. And I have confidence that you can. Richard. Richard lives in LA. Okay. And I'm a manager for a region in the US of a global company. I've worked at the same organization for over 15 years. That's unusual today, so congratulations. And I've worked my way up from an entry-level tech position to where I am now. Congratulations. Because I was fast-tracked within the company, I am quite a bit younger than others who hold the same or similar positions. I find that I meet a great deal of resistance and resentment when I challenge the status quo or the position of more tenured team members, because they are not interested in innovating. That happens sometimes even in your own family. When you're changing and others aren't, they tend to want to pull you back. They just want to collect a paycheck and go home. Anybody like that? Yeah, I think we all do. But being a problem solver and thinking more entrepreneurially about my job is what has moved me more quickly in my organization. Do you have any idea for how I can elicit more favorable perception and treatment from colleagues who seem to see my work ethic and approach to the job negatively? Well, first of all, shame on them. And probably it's their jealousy. My guess is they're jealous. They're jealous of things that you have done and jealous of your success. And to have started at an entry-level position and moved up to where you are today, first of all, be proud of yourself, step into your own power, and be thrilled that what you're doing is being rewarded. And, quite frankly, they are the ones that are suffering. They're the ones that haven't gotten ahead while you have. And so understanding that and realizing that you have every opportunity to continue advancing. But let's talk about how can you maybe feel happier. Maybe they are creating a difficult working environment. Some ways, maybe when you have an idea for improving things, maybe start asking their opinion. Maybe if they feel more included in your innovation and thoughts that you have, they'll be more supportive. Sometimes just feeling consulted, it will be a compliment to them, and they would be less concerned about the things that you want to do. But sometimes, and I say sometimes, there are people that you just have to stop listening to. So I'm going to be a little bold here and say, some of them you just need to try and put that cone of protection on yourself. If you can include them, great. If they continue to resist and you still think that it's the right thing to do and it's the right move for your company, then don't let them hold you back. Know that you are doing it for the right reasons. And sometimes, sometimes we say stuff just to be heard. So don't do that. But if you have a suggestion that can really move your company forward and you think it's something that can improve, start by including those around you in the conversation. And maybe every once in a while, the idea can be a collective idea presented by the group so that they feel like they're getting a little credit for it. But by all means, make sure that you are the authority. And so stand in that power and know that you have the opportunity. And if they don't, feel sorry for them, not for yourself. Feel sorry for the fact that they feel that they are not worthy. And so if you can help them feel better about being more worthy, perfect, because you're supporting them. But don't go to the point. I always say, I used to have this problem when I would walk in and my husband was in a bad mood. Okay, he's down here. I'd walk in and all of a sudden I'd be right down there with him. Any of you ever have that? Yeah. So particularly with spouses. And then I realized, all I'm doing is causing myself harm. I'm not helping him and I'm not helping myself. And so I think about that now, and I recognize that he's down here when I walk in. I go, instead of me coming down here, how can I pull him up a little bit so that we both are in a better place? And that's something that may very well be what's happening within your organization with your peers. What can you do to make them feel better about their job? And maybe they just want their paycheck and go home. And they just, there's nothing like gossip to kill an environment in a workplace. And you can't change, you may not be able to change other people, but you can change how you react to them. So for instance, by including them in the conversation, you'll probably quickly identify whether or not that makes them feel better or not. And if not, then you've made that effort. And, if there's something else you can try to make them less gossipy or less negative towards what you're doing, then you've made that effort and you've specifically attempted to get them moving in the right direction. But don't allow them to pull you down, because that's not good for you. And it's really, quite frankly, not good for them. They may have a short window of feeling like they had power and control over you, but that's not good for you. It's not good for them. And so remember, if your goal is to become the authority, in doing that, you are going to have people who want to pull you back. So that's a perfect topic for us to start closing today on, because as you become the expert and the authority, I want you to feel all that power, and I want you to stand into your power, and I want you to feel all the positive energy that comes from being the authority. But there will be detractors. There will be people who say, she's not an authority. He's not an authority. And that's why I talk about earning the right. But also remember that people that know that they could be an authority as well, but they won't take the time to invest in themselves, they won't take the time to earn the right, then they're going to want to pull you back. Don't let that happen. Know that you have the opportunity. Hello, Eric. Thank you. You have the opportunity to pull them up. And if they're not going to respond, then continue moving as the authority in your field, and recognize that, as you become more and more known as the authority, there will be people that don't agree with that. Don't let that impact you. As long as you continue to stay up in your field, you continue to share your expertise in a positive way to support others, you become the authority. You can stay the authority, as well as impacting others in a huge way. Because as we play big together, and there's quite a few of you that have committed to play big, I want to see it on here in the Play Big movement. I want, again, it's the Play Big movement, being number one in your field, be the authority, live your legacy, create maximum impact. And we've had another show on living your legacy, but I just want to remind you, why wait till you're gone? Live your legacy today, and know that people who know you will be better off for knowing you. So thank you so much. And I want everyone, you are already the expert. Remember, those of you that joined us late, you can say, I am an expert. I want you to change that word to I am the expert. You are the expert. And now you have the opportunity and really the responsibility to become the authority, to share your expertise with the world, not just within your community, with the world. And you can do that through doing Facebook Lives like what I'm doing right now. You can do that through ebooks. You can do it through starting to speak, podcasts, so many different ways. It's never been easier to establish your expertise and establish yourself as the authority. And remember, the difference between expert and authority, you're all experts already. You become an authority when people start calling you and asking you for advice. So you may already be there. If not, I challenge you, become the authority in your field because people need to hear from you. So thank you so much for being with me today. I love you all. See you next Wednesday. And remember, please send in your questions to Sharon, info@SharonLechter.com, or you can send them to me on my Facebook page, info@SharonLechter, always Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, I'll be doing my Facebook Live from Orlando, Florida. I'll be there visiting. I've been asked to come to Florida State in Tallahassee to speak to their students next Tuesday. So I'll be going to see my sister for a few days, and I'll be doing Facebook Live from her living room on Wednesday, and I'll look forward to seeing all of you. Have a fabulous week. Love you all.